My next guest is a husband and father who 5 years ago lived through one of the most difficult chapters of his life. Thanks for being here, Scott.
Oh, thanks for having us.
So 2013, you get some horrible news. You and your wife get some horrible news about your youngest son, Joey. Tell us about
October of 2013, we had taken Joey to our family doctor for an audiology follow-up. And he kind of looked at Joey and said, I really don't like the way things look right now. Let's get some blood work. And about 12 hours later, we got a phone call saying, get Joey to the hospital now. We don't like the results. And the next morning, we had spent the night in Emerge, and a team of doctors came in and said, Joey has leukemia. And so that started a crazy journey for us to kind of battle cancer.
And what did the doctors say? Were they hopeful that Joey would be able to battle through this?
Yeah, within the first day or so, the oncologist sat down with us and said, you know, if there's a good cancer to get, this is the one to get. Very high success rate, so 95% cure rate. So we're thankful that we're in that 95%. So they gave us a lot of hope and just kind of explained how the process was going to go very early.
And so you have 3 boys. Your youngest is now diagnosed with leukemia. You and your wife are grappling with this news. And then your wife gets hospitalized. Tell us what happened to Doretta.
So we were in the hospital for a full week at that point. Didn't leave Joey's side. And Doretta was super mom. So she just made sure that he never was without someone by his side. A week later, though, she suffered a stress seizure. And the only way to diagnose a stress seizure is to make sure you can rule out any kind of medical cause for a seizure. So that takes a couple of weeks in a medically induced coma. So they had her doing that. Came out of the coma, things were going well, and suddenly I got a phone call, come back to the hospital, your wife is critical. Her airway had collapsed, and 5 days later she passed away.
Wow. And so Scott, you're dealing now with your son, the passing of your wife. You're a pastor as well. How are you processing all of this all at once?
Very slowly. It was a storm. Really just this insane amount of chaos came on you right away. Within a month, my life was completely different than I had known it previous. And so you walk through it, you grapple through it. And for us, our faith is what really pulled us through. If you don't have faith, if you don't have hope, then the darkest trials will sink you. You know, in a lot of ways, like we expect when you become a Christian that things are all going to be rainbows and rosy and stuff, and yet Jesus said, in this life you will have trials. And so it should become no surprise when we actually go through trials. But he finishes that by saying, but have faith, have peace, because I've overcome the world. And so you grapple onto that and you hang your hat on that. For 20 years we were in ministry telling people that God will get you through anything. And then you face the unimaginable and your faith is put to the test.
But Scott, I think if anybody could say, I don't understand, and just like shake your head at God, it could be you in that position, right?
Yeah. Oh, and
your wife has now passed away. You're going through all of this. I want to know, and I think people at home want to know, where does that hope come from that you could stand on that?
Yeah, there was those moments. There was the the fist shaking at God and going, how dare you? And to a point, almost like, you owe me. I've worked as your servant for all these years. You owe me. And yet everything Christ did on the cross paid everything, and so he owes me nothing. And so it was that hope that we clung to, knowing that we're just kind of passing by in this world, and we kind of make a difference where we can. So to cling to a hope and a faith that was bigger than us, and that peace that passes understanding, we actually experienced that because we didn't know, we didn't understand, and yet there was just this faith that we were anchored to.
So you're, visiting your son in the hospital, guiding him through that process, as well as raising your 2 other boys. What was that like, being now the single father taking care of a child that's going through such a critical time?
It was hard. It was difficult. We were surrounded by incredible people. Our church family rallied around us. Our community rallied around us. And we found tons of support at the hospital. They were just so good in giving us compassion and hope and care that it made it manageable to kind of go through all the things we were going through. Because we had so much strength and support from those people around us.
And tell me about the process for Joey. How is he doing? How did he come out of that?
So he went through the process for 3.5 years, and in January 2017, he finished his treatment. And so we've now been 2 full years without any treatment. He goes back for checkups, just graduated recently to the next phase. So instead of going every 3 months for a checkup, he goes every 6 months.
Wow.
And so we're one step closer to what they call aftercare.
Okay.
So putting the cancer journey kind of in the rearview mirror and moving on to whatever God has for us next.
Yeah. Okay, so we are going to bring in the man of the hour.
The star of the show,
The
really.
star of the show. Hey, Joey.
Hi.
Thanks for being here. Look at you. How are you doing? How are you feeling today?
Good.
Yeah? Now, I mean, you obviously do you remember being in the hospital and going through all of the tests and all of the procedures?
Kind of.
Yeah? And what was that like?
Hard and also scary.
And so how do you feel today? How does your body feel?
Good,
Yeah.
I think.
Now, I see we have this huge belt that is bigger than you, so this can't be yours. Is this yours?
Yes.
It has your face on it. Tell me about this.
Okay, so on, I don't know how to explain.
Is this a wrestling belt, apparently, that you're giving? Scott, can you shed some light on this?
Yeah, so my brother and I designed this. It's to signify that Joey is the champion. Not only has he kicked cancer's butt, but for this next year, he's London's representative for the Children's Miracle Network. And so he's the champion for that program as well. And so we put together a belt with all of the logos of all of the partners that have really helped us through the last number of years.
That's awesome. And you've also, okay, tell me about your shirt here. You're also the mascot for the Lightnings. Tell us about this.
I think it was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
The Lightning team came to my dad's high school, and they played like a game, and me and my brothers were telling the Lightning about like me having cancer, and then so the Lightning gave us tickets to every game.
That's awesome.
And and then for my birthday, I wanted a morph suit to be like the Flash.
Yeah.
And then we were at like Boston Pizza, and then the managers and people for the Lightning were they wanted it to be a thing, and then they got a jersey, and then I was like Flashlight.
So now you are the mascot. You attend almost every game,
Yeah.
right? No game can go on without Joey there, right?
At least not the home game.
Yeah, no
least not
home
the
game
whole
can start without Joey. He actually takes the flag that's about 3 times his size
Wow.
and runs it out to the center court. So.
And your brothers also join you in this as well.
Yes, my older brother, he's a water boy for the team. My oldest brother, he sweeps the floor.
That's awesome. So Scott, you're looking at Joey now. He's 9 years old. He is a walking miracle, isn't he?
Absolutely is.
Yeah.
And such a light, too. And so we named him Flashlight for a couple of reasons. The first is the original mascot was named Flash, and so it's the junior version of that, but also that he shines a light. And so we wanted to make sure that people know that the light that we have inside of us comes from Jesus, and he gets to shine that as a beacon of hope in the midst of the crisis and the tragedy and the chaos that we walked through.
And you are a beacon of light as well, Scott, in what you've walked through. Thank you both so much for being here today. Thanks, Joey.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, it was a pleasure. The highlight of my day.